Hey everybody, this is Anne. We're dedicating this video to one of the most vital tools for hand building in pottery, that is, the almighty template. I'm going to go over 4 reasons why potters use them and make a project to go along with each of them. I'll also include free templates which you can find the link to in the description section. The first reason to use templates is to create identical pieces, like if you want to make a set of teacups. In this case, I was inspired by some nestable tray templates I found on templatemaker.nl, which would need to be identical so it'll stack together. I entered the size I wanted, then printed out the template. Of course, the template online is designed to be used with paper, so I had to cut it apart and adjust for the width of the clay. I already rolled out a slab and let that dry until it was leather hard. I laid out the template pieces and cut them out, cutting 1 slab for the bottom and 2 of each for the wall pieces. I then removed the excess clay. I used a bevel cutter to cut the 2 angled edges of each of all 4 wall slabs so the cuts mirror each other and will fit together. I scored each of the 8 edges. To assemble, I slipped one of the edges, then attached 2 of the pieces together so they stuck tightly. I rolled a coil and worked it into the seam. I repeated those steps for the other remaining sides, trying hard to maintain the squared shape and not bend the clay. I then turned over the 4 walls. I scored the bottom edge. I then scored the bottom of the box. I slipped one of the edges, then put the 2 together, making sure they fit tightly. I worked a coil into the bottom seam and smoothed it out. I softened the rim so it wasn't sharp, and I cleaned up the edges. Here are some boxes I made previously. See how they fit together? And I added a simple leaf design that flows together when the boxes are stacked. I added the blue and green glazes to augment the design. I think those turned out really well. Another reason why potters use templates is to get a good fit for additions like lids. I'll show you how this works with an oval box. Again, I started out with a slab that was leather hard. I cut out 2 identical oval template pieces and 1 rectangle to form the wall. I removed the excess clay. I used a bevel cutter to cut the short edge of the wall. As I want the 2 edges to join together, I flipped the piece over, then cut the other short side. I scored each edge, then slipped 1. I joined the 2 edges together like this. I used a red rubber rib to secure the edges. I smoothed one of the cut oval pieces. I scored the bottom edge of the box. I joined the 2 together so they were secure. I rolled a coil and worked it into the bottom seam. I placed the other oval piece on top of the rim. I adjusted the wall to fit perfectly under that oval. I cut out a long, thin rectangular piece of fun foam. I rolled the strip into a coil and fit it just inside the rim. I released the coil, and it unwound to fit to the wall. I marked where the two pieces overlapped, then cut the excess strip off. I then cut this strip out of the clay slab. Again, I beveled the short edges and attached the sides together to form an oval. I then set that aside. I put paper strips down over the rim of the box to act as a resist for the next step. I put back into place the oval piece over the rim of the wall. I used my thumbs to stretch the center of the oval downward, forming an oval indentation. I took the ovaled strip and centered that onto the indented lid. I marked around the strip. I then scored the side of the rim of the strip and slipped it. I used a brush to work the outer edges together. I turned the brush over and worked the inner edge of the strip down with a blunt end. Now when I turned the lid over, it fit right into the box. I love that domed lid. Here's one that I made previously with a flat lid. I had fun decorating this little cutie. Now here it is all glazed and fired. You can fire the two pieces together if you want, but I chose to fire these separately. The third reason potters use templates is to make it easier to alter forms. Really, the sky's the limit when using templates for this purpose, but I'll show you just one trick to hand building a really cool twisty vase. I started out by throwing a closed mountainous form on the wheel. I drew a circle around the very top point of the form. I used a bamboo skewer to line up the north, south, east, and west points of the form with the points on the side of the bat and mark them. Again, using the bamboo skewer, I lined up the point on the foot and marked the mirrored counterpoint along the top circle. I did this for all the north, south, east, and west points. Finally, I placed the tip of the skewer on the north point along the bottom edge. I slid the skewer up the pot and slightly to the left so it connected to the east point. I did this around the entire form. I then cut the form apart along each line. When I stretched one of the pieces out flat, it became my new template piece. I placed the template on a leather hard slab and cut out 4 of them. You'll see that one side of the template piece is shorter than the other. I held up the short side of one of the pieces next to the longer side of another piece and marked where the tip hit. I did this on all 4 pieces. Next came the beveling. I beveled the entire short template edge. On the longer side, I started at the mark that I created and beveled right down to the end. I then scored each beveled edge. I slipped and assembled the first 2 sides along the bevels. I added the 3rd side. Then I continued with the 4th side. I squared off the top opening. I also squared off the bottom edge, then put that on top of a slab and attached the two together to form a bottom. What I got was this unique twisty form. Here's one I created previously where I carved field mice into a wheat field. I haven't glazed this one yet, as I plan on highlighting the carving of this for a future video. I'll keep you posted. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see how I carved it. Finally, potters use templates when they want to try and replicate other objects. Take for instance this milk carton. If I wanted to make one out of clay, I simply open up the carton and use the actual carton as inspiration for my template pieces. This object was much more difficult to construct than I imagined, but I finally figured out a way to cut the pieces with their unique folds so that I could construct it using clay. Now here's one I made previously. It was a good excuse to paint these cute little cows. Now here it is, all glazed and fired. That would look great as a centerpiece for a table in an old farmhouse. Templates are definitely one of the most important staples for hand building in my own studio. The best part is that once I've made one, I just need to pull it out and I can make as many of that piece as I want. It's such a time saver. Thanks to the newest members of our Little Street Pottery Research Facility team. If you'd like to join the team and earn a title, click on the Super Thanks button or the link to buy me a coffee. It also really helps us out if you subscribe and like our videos as well. See you next time in the studio.